Evangeline up here. We would really appreciate that. If you've never been to a Red Talk before, these are modeled after TED Talks, and I think a lot of you have seen TED Talks before on YouTube. And basically, the students in our speech class have something that they're passionate about or they feel like they're an expert in, and they will give a 8 to 15 minute talk on whatever that subject is. And it's kind of cool. Very rare does a high school student get an opportunity to kind of uninterrupted share something that they're passionate about in front of an audience. So we appreciate you being here. After Eve gives the talk, we'll take a few questions from the audience. So think if you have any questions for Eve, we can take those at the end. I think that's all I've got for you. So we'll get Junior from PC, Evangeline Young, out here on the stage. Please welcome her.
Good morning, y'all. Now, before I start talking and y'all stop listening, I want you to think about one thing that you absolutely cannot live without. And yes, I want you to actually think, so go ahead. Now that you have whatever it may be in your head, I want you to raise your hand if that thing may have been a person. Okay, and what about an object? And what about an activity? Now, I really want you to go ahead and think about why that thing is just so special to you. And I don't want you to make up some lie like I've been doing it forever or it's just out of habit. But odds are that's probably what you did, because humans' brains are made to fit routines and they're just molded that way. That's just how it goes. But if y'all are so persistent with breaking the mold and setting the bar higher, why can't you just break your own mold and break your own routine? Because comfort is the worst addiction and often a cheap ticket to depression. Throughout my entire life, I've been a dancer. I've been in the studio 4 times a week for countless hours. Because that's just what I did. That's just what I felt like I was supposed to do. However, recently I stopped dancing. And I never thought I'd be okay because it was just part of my routine. I'd wake up, I'd go to school, I'd go to dance, I'd go home, I'd wake up. The same thing, over and over and over again. According to Parents Together, 40% of all children will have dropped out of their sport because they no longer find it fun or entertaining. 10% will continue to play because they actually find it fun, and 50% of all children will not quit because they feel obligated to stay. Kids are put under an immense amount of pressure at home and at school. Sports should not involve any pressure. You should want to be there. You should want to go to games. You should want to go to meets. You should want to go to practice. You should want to go to team bonding. You should want to be there all the time. For our American Lit class, we all wrote poems. Our very own PCHS junior, Bryce Copeland, writes, "Blood, sweat, tears, pain, agony, depression, starvation. All side effects of wrestling. Day in, day out. Week in, week out. I'm constantly relying on my medication. Every week, traveling further and further to a new location, just to get violated and need hospitalization. After 2 to 3 hours of practice, I come home drenched. You already know if Samari comes back, I'm gonna be benched." Well, if Bryce really feels that way, why would he stay? And many people face this problem, and often it's because that's all that they know. But take it from me, you can learn. After I quit dance, I joined an all-star cheer team. And I really had that fear that I would never be able to find my people, but honestly, as soon as I did, I felt so much more free-spirited because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to dance anymore because I felt like I was getting in that monotonous routine of just doing it over and over and over again. And you cannot get any better if you do the same thing over and over again. It's literally the definition of insanity. Now, the same thing applies with people. Many people get in relationships or friendships because they're easy and it's what they're supposed to do. No, I'm not telling you to go quit your lifelong sport or to go break up with your significant other. I'm asking you to do what really makes you happy because routines can limit creativity and prohibit growth. I want you to stop whatever you're thinking about right now, and I want you to just think about how you feel laying on the beach with the ocean and the nice nice warm sun. And now I want you to think about how you felt this morning on a typical Tuesday. Exactly. Depressing. But why can't you just feel that exact same way like you're on vacation on a typical Tuesday? And it's often because a particular routine may make us feel secure, but it may also cause us to lose our sense of awe. As children, we build up these walls. We fall and we get hurt, so we build up walls that stop us from getting hurt, so we don't fall over anymore. But as teens and adults, we forget that we build up these walls, and then we can't continue to grow. However, we can reconnect, not by just going on vacation, but even exploring just in our own town. We can be freer in our relationships, or more open just to variation in our morning routine. I want you to think about something that you're comfortable with. In the morning, say you get up and then you shower and you brush your teeth. Maybe get up, brush your teeth, and then shower. Or take a cold shower, just to get out of that habit. Now you may be thinking, well, if I don't have a routine, I'm not going to get anything done. However, a 2010 study showed that high IQ, high-achieving people are more likely to allow distracting stimuli into their daily work. Now, that sounds great, but you may be thinking, I can't just break my routine. But no one's expecting you to. Routines are hard, they're set, and you just can't really get out of them. And no one's expecting you to. But I do have some simple steps, but they're just guidelines because every single one of you is completely different. First, shed unnecessary things tying you down. There is no need for you to wake up in the morning and the first thing that you do is check your email at 5:30. You can wait until you're at work at 7. It's okay. Give up on social norms. We all know that one person that just tries so hard. Let it fly. It's okay. Be knowledgeable and focus on your own health. No one can decide how your day goes. That one person in 3rd period that won't stop talking shouldn't affect how your 8th period goes. At the beginning of my talk, I asked you guys to raise your hand if I named different objects or a person or an activity. I asked you if it was a person. I saw about 3, 4 hands go up. I asked you about an object. A bunch of hands go up. And that's honestly quite sad because we're all relying on what object? Our phones? That's completely not right. You should be focusing on the people in your life over the process. As we experiment with this, we can determine what it means to break free of a false identity that we impose upon ourselves. For example, we may be pressured to be the quiet, agreeable one. We can try speaking out and suggesting more new creative ideas. So next time you feel down because of this cold, wet, dark blanket that we all call Ohio, and you feel like you just need a little vacation, switch up your routine. Now remember, I'm not telling you to go break up with your significant other or go quit your lifelong sport. Lord knows I'm not the best relationship. Trev, I know you're in here. This isn't your ticket out, you're stuck. Now, anyways, routines can limit creativity and prohibit growth. To be the best versions of ourselves, we cannot keep doing the same thing over and over again. We all need to strive to be better and to not just be okay with who we are. I hope you all leave here today with a new understanding and the importance of not getting stuck on our own cycle. Thank you.
All right, great job, Eve. All right, so any questions from the audience? Raise your hand if you have a question. We'll take a few. Come on, I know it's early. Yes, Mr. Bain.
How difficult was it to break that first time, making that first choice step in the dance? How hard was it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Honestly, it was super hard because it's all that I knew, but I knew that I wasn't really in love with the sport anymore. I just needed to try something different. It was super hard, and I understand the struggle.
Okay, another question. Yes, Johnny.
Were you saying habits aren't a good thing?
I'm not saying they're a good thing, but if you're not in love with the habit that you have, then you shouldn't continue to pursue it just because it's what you're used to.
I have a question. So I like the Bryce example in there. I know Bryce is sitting in here. That's a real poem you wrote?
It is.
Okay. So, what would you say to someone? So, I'm thinking from a coach perspective here. You know, Bryce is a good athlete. Our school needs kids to play multiple sports. You do it for the school, you do it for the community, things like that. What do you say to someone who says that? Like, and I know you guys said you're not trying to get people to quit sports. That's not what you're saying. But what would you say to someone who says you're doing it beyond yourself?
Well, I'm not saying to quit your sport by any means. I don't want you guys to do that. I understand that sports are so important to you guys. But there's no need for you to put your whole mind, body, and soul into your sport if you're not completely in love with it. Because by the time you graduate college, or if you don't go into college, high school, nobody's going to care that you wrestled for 5 years.
One more question? Anybody? Okay, all right, well, I think she deserves it. One more round of applause.